Kyle Whittingham talking about a super league and a power 2 conference structure.
So much change already, and there's more on the horizon. I can tell you that. We're not done. I think it's ultimately going to get to 2 super conferences and their own playoff system and probably break away from the NC2A, have a commissioner and all. It's an NFL minor league model, I think, is where we're heading in that regard.
I'm sorry, did he say that it was going to be an NFL minor league?
Now, I know that we're just a little old Marty show.
What?
But I'm pretty sure that those words came out of your very mouth.
What?
Maybe a month ago, if memory serves. I'd have to go back and check. The everyone lost their shit in the comments section when my guy here was like, hey, college football is going to head to an NFL minor league system as far as the playoff is concerned.
You're going to have championship game on Sunday before the Super Bowl or championship Saturday before the Super Bowl on Sunday.
Like, come on, dude. This isn't an accident, bro. This is not an accident, man. This is not a coincidence, dude.
Did Kyle Whittingham really just say that his belief is we are heading to a super league where you will have 2 power conferences, divisions, whatever you want to say, and that it will be an NFL model? Did he really just tell 365 Sports that? I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he said.
So much change already, and there's more on the horizon. I can tell you that. We're not done. I think it's ultimately going to get to 2 super conferences and their own playoff system and probably break away from the NC2A, have a commissioner and all. It's an NFL minor league model, I think, is where we're heading in that regard.
Oh. Have their own playoff system, an NFL minor league model with their own commissioner.
Gotcha. So let me get this right. We're ahead of Ross by 3 months. We're ahead of Witt by a month. I know stacks on YouTube. We don't know anything, but it's fine.
Trust me, bro.
Yeah.
It is, this to me is the comment that should have shook the world.
Yeah.
This to me is the belief. And I know that 9 out of 10 questions that were asked, and I feel like the media at Big 12 Media Day did a fantastic job. I feel like we got more information. I feel like we got more insight. I feel like we got more, more inside info in the interviews and the conversations that came out of Big 12 Media Days than any year previously. This is the bombshell comment. This is one of the best coaches in college football telling you we're going to a super league. And I think there was a lot made, and I know that we've talked about this ad nauseum, but there was a lot made about Utah's belief that they're not in the Big 12 in the long term. And if the Big 12 does not exist in the long term because we are going to a two league super conference, a 2-conference super league, however you want to put it, that makes perfect sense to me. And as I've told you in the past, I've repeatedly heard that it is, as the soonest that could happen would be after the next 2 years, because you have an expanded playoff with heavy TV money and contracts tied to that. And I think that you are going to see that there will be an NFL setup in college football. We've said that before on the show, that they will play the college football championship game on Saturday of Super Bowl weekend. I think we've said that before. I think it is one of the biggest no-brainers because it makes complete sense. I think guys like Brett Yormark and Greg Sankey will be viable candidates to be the commissioner of college football. I don't think there's any doubt about that. All of this nonsense about how the NCAA is going away, it's not. But the NCAA will not govern football anymore. Will they govern basketball and the stick and ball sports? Of course, because they own college basketball. The NCAA does. The NCAA tournament is their property. So you're going to see that. What Kyle Whittingham said yesterday, or really not even yesterday, 2 days ago, that's the real news. To me, that's the headline. That you now have one of the biggest college football coaches in the game talking about a super league and the fact that it's on the way. I don't think there's any doubt that we are going to see college football, Jake, move to an NFL model.
And I think that's what the sport needs. I think that, you know, the sport needs some streamlining, some revision, some adjustment, so that we get to a place where, you know, the excitement, because I look forward to it every year in the NFL season, as I'm sure we all do.
Training camp's open next week,
right? So training camp's opening, but then, you know, you get into the meat of the playoff schedule for the NFL, and, you know, you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, we're in week 16 here. You know, what are we playing for? What kind of matchup can we look for? You know, and that's what I think college football needs. You need the ability,
totally agree,
for, you know, whatever heavy hitter you want to look at, Georgia, Ohio State, whoever, you need the ability to have those teams playing games of consequence, and also allow the fans and everybody on the planet to say, hey, if Ohio State wins this game, they're going to be in this slot, and they're going to most likely match up with this team. That is why the NFL is so successful, because you can see the matchup in the bracket, if you will. You can project forward. So
there's no Florida State controversy,
right? So like when there's 2 minutes left in the game, and, you know, you're watching this drive go down, in the moment you're like, man, if they score here, they're punching their ticket to go here, and this could be iconic right here.
They win the tiebreaker. They're the wild card.
Right? Like, that's what we need in college football. And the crazy thing is, even though we don't have that now, college football has still done as well as it has done. And that's why I say, when you hear Whit saying things like this, I just think it's spot on. It's where the sport has to go to thrive and reach its peak, its best version of itself.
Yeah, and I do think this is the most important conversation coming out of college football. I mean, there's no doubt that this will now be talked about at SEC Media Day. There's no doubt. I mean, obviously, ACC Media Day is going to be a shit show for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how we're not talking about Pac-2 Media Day that happened last. Pac-2 Media Day was like 35 minutes, and they had an open bar. All right, guys, thanks for coming. Beers on us. Go for it. Hey, Mike Gundy, come on over to Pac-12 Media Hour.
I'm a man.
Maybe that's the quote of the
bro.
Okay, the non-legality tied quote where people shouldn't be suspended is Kyle Whittingham.
Yeah. Saying
that we're going to 2 power conferences.
Yeah.
I also thought the Deion Sanders stuff was very interesting because, and maybe because we were not at Big 12 football media days, people wanted us to know that they cared, and they missed us. Because again, Deion Sanders, I think he is exactly right. I think Deion Sanders, talking about the double standard when it comes to him, I think he's actually spot on here.
I'm judged on a different scale. My wins are totally different than your wins. Your wins, you just judging football. That's why I have to start out and give you education and academics and so forth. I have to give you those things so you understand there's a greater scope. I can't win 9 games and our GPA suffers. Our GPA can't be high, but we lose another 8 games. We can't not go and grab high school players and you got a bunch of guys in the portal, out of the portal that's getting incarcerated. My wins are different. We have to win in every area. That's the way we're judged. And I'm cool with that because we come a little different.
This dude's unbelievable. First of all, he's exactly right. If Deion Sanders goes undefeated, but his grade point average drops by 1/10, he's a shitty coach because he's not making men.
Oh, no.
If his grade point average is elite and they don't make a bowl, he's a terrible person.
Yeah.
He is judged on a completely different scale than everybody else. I don't think that's controversial. I don't think that's
spot on.
I think he's exactly right.
Yeah.
And I think you watch this show enough to know that anytime Deion comes up, somebody's going to talk about how many toes he's missing. Somebody's going to talk about how he's done nothing and accomplished nothing at Colorado.
And Colorado sucks, and they're terrible.
I mean, they're the worst team in the Big 12. Okay. all of that to say he's judged on a completely different level.
Yeah.
If Deion Sanders had showed up at Big 12 Media Day and said that we're going to Power 2 conferences and the NCAA is going away and there's going to be a commissioner and it'll be an NFL model, people would be talking about how bad Deion Sanders is for college football.
Yeah.
He is, without question, there's a double standard. There's what everybody else is allowed to do, and then there's Deion Sanders. If Deion Sanders had sat up there and talked about how he'd driven drunk thousands of times, there'd be calls for his job.
So get your facts straight.
It's amazing.
Yep.
And I think he's exactly right. And I think when you listen to Shedeur yesterday talking about how Colorado is everybody's, that's like the, oh man, you circle the Colorado game on your schedule.
It's been that since day one. I remember first media day when I was in HBCU, I said we won't lose a game. I'm undefeated in the SWAC, so I already know what the expectation comes with. I know we're everybody's Super Bowl, so I'm really just, I always stay level-headed, stay grounded, because I would never want to be that guy, look back, and not being able to take advantage of the moment that we have right now.
I think he's exactly right.
I think people do look at them. I think people do target them, regardless of whether they win or not. I think we saw that with Oregon. I think we saw that with Colorado State. I mean, we saw it in a variety of different ways, and they just are, and it's a credit to Deion, obviously credit to Shedeur. They just understand who they are and where they are and where they're trying to go.
I'm undefeated in the SWAC.
And you know the little smirk that he's got working too, because he knows how ridiculous it is.
I think it's great. I think Colorado's great for the Big 12. If they win, I think it's all icing. I mean, if it's the cherry on top, it's D's nuts on your Sunday. Like, it is everything that happens in favor of Colorado is good for the Big 12.
Yeah.
Because it's all anybody will talk about. It's all anybody will talk about. All right, let's get your thoughts in here. Do you guys buy into Florida State joining the Big 12? That's never going to happen. I don't see any way Florida State joins the Big 12. I do buy into the Super League. I've told you that. And I do agree that Deion Sanders and Colorado are held to a different standard. Dare we go all the way back
let's
to
go
the
back
top?
to the top.
Ryan Smith's receding hairline. We show up. We show up, Ryan.
Wow,
too bad
show up.
Yeah, too bad the Jazz didn't show up last. Jesus, did you?
What are we doing?
If you're not worried about Cody Williams,
You should be.
dude, he is not good. He cannot shoot. The Buffalo Hunter. So you're saying Jameis stole his crab legs from a Buc-ee's. That's what I'm saying. Nate Simon says, hit the like button, casuals. Indeed. How good is Iowa State going to be this year?
Yeah, they're going to be good. That defense is always a problem.
Double-digit wins?
No, 8-9 wins, though.
Dakota Tubbs, hello. Seminal fluid to the 12 incoming. We've talked about the dollar store on this show, I think, multiple times. And you guys know that I put the dollar store in a very special category with Walmart, with 7-Eleven. Places you'll never find me.
Target.
You want to meet me? Don't go to the dollar store. Speaking of seminal fluid, a gentleman left some on a lady's leg at a dollar store the other day.
Kitty cat juices is not all over the place.
Why are you shopping at dollar stores? Any dollar store concept, Dollar General, dollar
I saw
store.
This video, and I'm like, okay,
why?
How does this work, bro? So what is she in just one aisle over? And then
this lady, and the video that you see is this guy running out of the store. And this lady using vulgarities to describe what he left on her leg. And then she breaks down sobbing. First of all, what kind of degenerate are you that you planted your seed in the garden on a lady's leg at a dollar store?
So so you just did this in the aisle over, or what?
What do you mean did this? He clearly spent time strengthening his forearm somewhere in the parking lot or in the store.
Yeah.
And he was, how do I say, locked and loaded when he...
he's an assassin.
Put himself in her proximity. And then he left his DNA on her leg.
Dude.
Why are you shopping at dollar stores?
Having fun is the name of the game.
At 7-Elevens, at Walmarts, and to a lesser extent, but certainly the same category, Target. If you spend a lot of time at Target, enjoy whatever that skin rash you have is that you're going to get.
Bro.
Don't go. Amazon, Prime Day is, I think Prime Day is next week.
Yeah, it is.
Don't go. Use Amazon Prime. They'll bring it to your front door. And at least when somebody tries to steal your package, you can beat wholesale ass for free.
So don't even think about messing with me.
And you don't have to worry about Reggie leaving his DNA on your leg. Anyway.
My word.
The awkward guy, or excuse me, that awkward guy. Were you the awkward guy at the dollar store? Do you think Florida State will drink and drive on its way over to the Big 12? I would like to point out I did reach out to the Big 12 on Mike Gundy. They did not have any comment. I did email the president of Oklahoma State. Madam President did not reply. Mike Gundy's going to get a free pass.
Yep.
And the cowards in Stillwater won't ask him about it again, unfortunately. Matt Ritson, hello. John Dry, hello. L. Rich. I work nights, so I end up usually catching your guys' clips, which always are entertaining. Good morning, gents. Hello.
Hello.
Eric in Durham. Talk about the Kyle Whittingham audio.
Yeah, we did.
We did talk about the Kyle Whittingham audio.
I think
frankly,
you commented that before.
When I heard that yesterday, or the first time, I think I watched it live when he was doing the interview or when they posted it. I'm amazed by it. Sharice Armstead. I heard that both Clemson and Florida might go to the Big 12.
Yeah. Wow.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Said no one. And I want to make sure that we get this right. Ross Dellinger never said that. Ross Dellinger did not tell John Kurtz that they are joining the Big 12.
In option 3 is to probably join another league, right? Which would obviously be, there's only one other power conference league, and that's the Big 12. So you look at those.
By default, it would be the Big 12.
If it were to happen.
And his answer was, because the guy that cuts our audio is kind of a dickhead, so he didn't cut this correctly. Option 1 was to join the SEC. So I want to make sure that we understand. He did not say, well, they're joining the Big 12. All right, what else you want to talk about? That's not what the conversation was. The conversation was, what are the options? And what is Brett Yormark doing? And the news in that bite is, well, he's spoken to them. As we told you 3 months ago. Ross Dellinger or John Kurtz never said, so they're joining the Big 12. That never happened. And that's the way that everybody in the media is. And congratulations to John. I'm sure he's got thousands of views on that video, which is great. I'm happy for him. But it's a nothing burger. Ross Dellinger said absolutely nothing in that video. Sharice said, yeah, seriously, I don't think Clemson or Florida State will go to the Big 12. They won't. Boyd Lake, grant of rights, airtight. And again, I'm telling you that if there had been a way out of that grant of rights, we wouldn't be in court right now. So do you guys think ultimately what happens with this lawsuit in the ACC? Do you buy into the fact that this TV contract is the bombshell?
No, I don't think the TV contract a bombshell. I just think that generally speaking, the situations like this need to find resolution one way or the other. And I think that because you can't, for both sides, like I don't care if you're the ACC or you're the schools, you can't continue to operate with this dark cloud over your head for like the next 5 years. Like that's not going to work for anybody. And I just don't know what the schools think they're going to get out of this. Like I don't know if it's just, hey, we're trying to like vet all our options. We're trying to exhaust all the resources and, be in a spot where we said we did everything that we could do. I mean, if that's the game, I guess I get that, but you're just wasting everybody's time. Because again, the point that I always like to bring up here that we made again months ago is if somebody was going to be able to get out of this grant of rights, they would have done it already. There would have already been, a loophole found or some sort of backdoor exit strategy. And they've been looking at it for a year, man. You're talking about the I'm assuming the best legal counsel available to them.
Money can buy because they have the money to pay lawyers. Like I totally agree with that.
It's not like it's people who have no idea what they're looking at. I mean, these are legal professionals who know how to read a contract, and they haven't been able to find a way out. So this ESPN contract play, like I said on Monday, and like we talked about, is just another play to find a loophole.
Well, and the other part of this you have to remember is why would Florida State and Clemson torpedo the ACC? What is their motivation? They want to make more money. They're saying Florida State has straight up said we're behind financially, so we're not as competitive as members of the SEC and the Big Ten, right? They've said that openly. So you're going to join a league that pays out less than the ACC, at least historically, because I think going forward that'll change. But how much revenue sharing are you going to have to kick down to Florida State and Clemson to get them to join your league? And do you really think the alcoholics in Stillwater and the existing members of the Big-12 are going to allow that to happen? Are you going to pay? I don't even know what it would take to get Florida State, because I have to believe the Big Ten and the SEC would swoop. If Florida State and Clemson became available, that would mean that North Carolina and Duke are available.
Yeah.
That Miami's available, that Louisville's available. Like gravitational, ground-breaking shifts, seismic would happen. You can't tell me that you're going to take the money that you would get presumably from the Big 12 over the money you would get in the SEC and the Big 10. And they'll probably leverage you, right? Because you're desperate. Florida State and Clemson would be desperate. So you're not going to get a full share right out the gate. But you can't tell me that you're going to get less money in the Big 10 or the SEC than you're getting in the Big 12.
Well, and I think that's the point that Brett Yormark needs to be focused on. So when you hear Brett talking about like naming rights deals not being imminent and like working on private money, and like, I'm telling you, Brett Yormark looks at this a little differently. He's sitting here saying, okay, we understand that we currently don't have the amount of money necessary to compete with the Big Ten and the SEC as far as revenue sharing and all that with our members. So what we need to do is we need to go out and find a way, basically pave a path for ourselves to up that number. So when the time comes, we can be just as competitive as anybody else. Because ultimately for Florida State and Clemson or Duke and UNC, any of these schools we're talking about, the conference itself isn't necessarily the most important piece, right? The only reason the Big Ten and the SEC are favored is because of the money. So if the Big 12 was this, air quotes, smaller conference, but was able to offer more money than the Big Ten and the SEC, now we're having a different conversation.
Well, and I also think there's something to be said for, don't you want to be the big dog in your conference? If you go to the SEC or the Big Ten, you're certainly not going to be that.
You're middle of the pack in the SEC. Like you are. Florida State is not even close to the best team in the SEC.
And again, I think if you join the Big Ten, you're probably top half.
Yeah.
At that point, you're top 10, certainly.
Yeah.
But there's no path for Florida State or Clemson to join the
And
the
I
Big
also
12.
think
There's no path.
I also think the piece about, hey, you can't, if you're the Big Ten and the SEC, dilute your conference too much from a revenue standpoint. Like, you can't just add 30 teams in your conference.
No.
You can't. That's not viable. So,
And my opinion is, I think we're going to a Super League. That there's no other alternative with the proliferation of, and Brett Yormark talked about, private money and the naming rights stuff and the corporate dollars that are available. It doesn't make sense for these three conferences to punch each other in the face for the same dollar. At some point, you have to become the mafia. You have to get into racketeering. One big pot. Right? Like, you have to put all of your money in the middle and distribute it evenly. And then have a reward system, which I continue to tell you, I've been told repeatedly, is already being talked about. Hey, if you miss the college football playoff, or if you don't go to the playoff 3 years in a row, there's a financial penalty for that. Hey, if you go to the college football playoff for 3 straight years, there's a spiff. Hey, every year that you do this, or that's going to happen, because you can't have, for instance, Baylor. You cannot reward Dave Aranda for being a terrible coach with terrible results. You cannot do that. You didn't fire Dave Aranda? Well, if you are, and it was interesting, I was talking to a TV guy several months ago who said to me, if you're sub 500 and you are not bowl eligible, you're going to be punished for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with it 100%. You have to not only incentivize success, but you have to penalize mediocrity. And that's, I think, where we're going. I truly do. Let's see. It makes sense. Mill Norm says it makes sense for FSU and Clemson to go to the Big 12 and maintain big fish status, as opposed to just another fish in the SEC or the Big 10. Maybe. The ghost of Gumby. John, pay me to read my own live stream chat, Kurtz. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, what does that mean, bro?
The Chad Carter, who actually has water again. Can I get some hash browns with that nothing muffin sandwich? Thanks. Exactly. Wow, Eric C.
Holy crap, dude. Are you alive, bro? Whoa.
San Diego's finest. Eric C. back in the hizzy. Haven't caught a live show in a while or heard SMU is back since I've been gone. SMU got the pro rata San Diego State deserved. You know. Travis, my man, John Kurtz making the Monty show. There you go. Boyd Lake, grant of rights, airtight. Yeah, as we said. Let's see. I seriously don't think Clemson and Florida State will go to the Big 12. No. Same, Dakota says. Boyd Lake, it's the algorithms. They stir up sheep for clicks. Cliques? I would agree with that. Dallas shows up. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. The ghost of Gumby says Marty shows up. Exactly. Cherise says Northwestern is a good academic Big Ten school. Elite. Eric in Raleigh, Kyle Whittingham's PR guy is shitting bricks. I don't think they are. I think Kyle Whittingham, how many seasons is going to continue to coach? I would guess 3, maybe 5 maximum, but I would guess 3. I don't think Kyle Whittingham cares what you think. I don't think he cares what his PR people think. I don't think he cares what anybody thinks. The guy's had an unbelievable career, and he's going to say what he wants to say. You know, Damian Fowler. See, I resisted a Mike Gundy jab.
Right.
But didn't he also say they would break away from the NCAA? He did.
Yeah.
But I think what you're going to see is that football will break away from the NCAA. And you will see that every other sport, most notably basketball, will stay under the NCAA umbrella. So, OG Gary, hello. We all knew this like months ago, bro. Exactly. Exactly. The Ghost of Gumby, 11 out of 8 people have trouble with fractions. I agree. James, stadium guy who loves Buc-ee's. The Super League will be 8, 10 teams and 16 playoff teams.
Why don't you try that again, bro?
Okay. Boyd Lake, I don't think Whittingham cares about what the PR dude says. He'll retire soon, maybe. Eric says inside the NCCFL. Okay. I like it. Welcome to the nightmare. You heard it here first on the Marty Show. Guys. Exactly right. Exactly right. James says 8, 10 team divisions, 10 teams each. That's your Super League. Okay. I don't hate that. You know. Sharice says Northwestern and UCLA, top 2 best Big Ten schools for academics. Well, I mean, the has to be there. Michigan's got to be there. Rutgers certainly has to be there.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan's program on, how to cheat in college football is elite. One of the best in the country. So,
wow.
Inflation
is down. Holy cow. Let's celebrate, people. Inflation has fallen. That can't be right.
Are you sure?
Consumer prices dropped 0.1% on a monthly basis, bringing the annual rate of inflation to 3%. Wow. Down 0.3 in May.
What is the annual rate of greed we have? Because it's not an inflation problem, people, and we've been telling you that.
No, falling gas prices as well as a drop in, oh boy, Ross Dellinger. Now, fuck. All right, we'll see you later.
What's our boy tweeting
Ross
about?
Dellinger.
Well,
this might be one of those. Ross Dellinger said, just to clarify, my comments from a radio interview yesterday should be taken as speculation about possible realignment options and nothing more.
Ross, I appreciate you watching, my dude.
Oh my God.
Bro, dude.
It's going to be that kind of day, isn't it? And I'm
only being half joking here. Are you really telling me that
Can you read? You can't fucking read that.
I can't read it.
Let me clip it. Go ahead, Jake.
I'm only being half tongue in cheek here. Like, I mean, there must just be a wave of people like who are on this story, man. For him to tweet that, and again, if you don't know John does radio. I think
John Kurtz does more than YouTube. I don't know John personally. I have no idea what his.
I don't remember. Like. Where he's based out of. If he's a Texas guy or Oklahoma guy, I can't remember. But yeah, John does radio, and so it's just hilarious to me that Ross tweeted this. Like, dude, bro. Just to clarify,
did we not just say this?
Who are you, Mike Gundy?
And let me play it again. Let me play the clip again because I want to be really fair to John Kurtz and Ross Dellinger.
Yeah,
it was a really entertaining interview.
It was,
although Ross kind of talks down here.
We know why you're right, Ross.
And Jake hates.
Listen, by the way,
honey, we need to get the kids and the dog. The house is on fire, and
my teal shirt in this interview won't save us.
We're probably all going to die. So if we could, if you could expedite your exit, I mean, the flames are right outside the door. Ross is not very excitable. So here's Ross Dellinger on the John Kurtz show, pissing a bunch of people off.
In option 3, is to probably join another league, right? Which would obviously be, there's only one other power conference league, and that's the Big-12. So you look at those options, and again, they probably prefer number 1, but I don't know that that's going to happen because the SEC has schools in those states already, in Florida and South Carolina. And the Big Ten, I don't know how interested they are in coming south. I mean, those things might happen. But I think there is at least early conversation between the Big 12 and those schools about the possibility. I don't know that it's anything serious yet because they do have to get out of the ACC, whether that's through a settlement or a court ruling. So we could be months, if not years away from something. But
now listen, I want to make you guys aware that none of this shit is real. And I'm just saying this because we're in the middle of a really good interview and we're just having a conversation. And some asshole on Twitter is going to take a clip of this and say that I'm breaking news and Florida State is joining the ACC.
That's bullshit.
And tomorrow morning when I flip on the Marty show,
Hey, Marty.
Hey, Marty, they better not be talking about this. And
Marty,
then,
please.
And then almost as though it was planned. And almost as though he timed this tweet and this is, you guys, you see, this is now, it's like 4 minutes ago.
In Ross, correct me if I'm wrong. Ross lives in Louisiana.
He's in Las Vegas right now.
Yeah.
For media day.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I want you guys to understand that you're just bass in a lake where there's a bunch of hooks with worms on it. And you just continue. Like you just continue. It's remarkable to me. It is remarkable to me, and the timing on this.
Tweet, for him to feel, because anytime we get a retract or like a clarification tweet, not retraction, clarification. So anytime that happens, somebody's feeling the pressure to tweet that, or like the urge to tweet that, like, "Hey, I want to make sure people know exactly what I said," kind of deal.
The Ghost of Gumby says, "Hi, Ross." OG Gary, sup, Ross. Oak State James. John Kurtz is in Kansas.
Okay, there you go.
He's a K-State guy.
There you go.
Well, he's going to have a good year. Kurtz is a K-State guy. Charisse, yeah, John Kurtz is a K-State fan.
Did you know that John's a K-State guy?
I had no idea. Jeremiah Champion, Monty got that Ross impression down. Listen.
Marty?
And if I turn on that Marty show in the morning.
Marty in the morning.
Yeah, I love that Marty in the morning show. Hey guys, hope all is well. I'm on the road. Sorry I'm missing the show. Yeah. How dare you?
Be better, dude.
How dare you?
You know, Ross Dellinger showed up in the comments section today and you weren't here. Come on.
The Ghost of Gumby on the road again. Kim Coulter. Morning, Marty and J2H. I think Kurtz is from Kansas area, but KU #1 in the chat could probably tell us he's a Kansas expert. I believe that's the case. You know, I think, you know, I think you look at these conversations about what Ross was speculating on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think there's any reason. There's no reason for the Big 12 to take a risk. And this conversation around, can the Big 12 be the #1 conference in the country? I don't believe they can. I think, though, they can get into a situation where it's much more palatable financially. And I don't think that they need to. Would they like to add Florida State and Clemson? Well, yeah, of course.
Who wouldn't?
Of course. I'd like to lose 55 pounds and make $1 million a year. Instead, I'm going to remain like fat and work on YouTube. My point is, of course they would. But if they end up with the Virginia schools, if they end up with, I think Pitt's a must to team with West Virginia again. Louisville, a home run for the Big 12. I think the Miami Hurricanes would be a home run for the Big 12. I don't think that happens necessarily. If you're the SEC and you can add Florida State and Miami in your conference, are you doing that? I would think you would. I again wonder, because I've been told, and I've had the conversation. I don't know how much value Clemson has right now. Certainly not as much as what Norvell and Florida State have and what they're doing in football. I mean, Florida State is a football powerhouse right now.
Yeah.
So I just think that's something to kind of contemplate. Like, how much does the Big 12 want to add Florida State and Clemson? Well, yeah. Do they need to? No. Is it life and death? No. Has Brett Yormark talked to them? I told you 3 months ago he's talked to every brand in the ACC he's reached out to. He's had substantive conversations. I think, and when I say that, he's had serious conversations like, hey, what would this look like? Are you guys open to it? How much money are we talking about? He's had those conversations, I am told, directly with Duke, North Carolina, the Virginia schools, Clemson, and Florida State. He's had those conversations. I don't know what to believe about Miami because I'll be honest with you, Miami is, and when I say Miami, I mean the University of Miami, Florida, is an absolute dumpster fire in administration. And in that universe, there's not much critical thinking that goes on. The city of Miami struggles to operate on a minute-to-minute basis. And that university, and oftentimes, is caught in the middle of that. So I think it's just a very difficult scenario. Just keep that in mind. Like, I think it's very, very difficult. Ron Nolan, that's what a teal polo shirt should look like, J2H. I mean, Ross looks good. Ross looks very good, in my opinion. Patrick, wet blanket, I can read. Oh, God. We've stopped. Wet blanket's kind of gone to loner phone land.
Yeah.
Where we don't read his comments because they're always
negative.
Yeah, and not productive. Sure, the Big 12 got some teams from the Pac-12, but they didn't get the best ones. Because that is very true.
Well, I would say you got one of the best ones. Utah's one of the best teams in the Pac-12. You didn't get the best of the lot.
But you didn't get the biggest revenue brands. You weren't getting Oregon and Washington. You weren't getting SC and UCLA. That was never a possibility. But I think the four corner schools offer you great value and equity. And I think there's been, of the last month, there's been this conversation about, did the Big 12 make a mistake not adding the northern arm of Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, and Washington State? My belief is no, they did not make a mistake there. I think they should have added Oregon State and Washington State. I think they should have done that. Cal and Stanford should have gone to the Big Ten. That's what should have happened. I look at Cal and Stanford, and I don't believe that they are a fit in either the ACC or the Big 12. But again, I think in 2 years, we're going to look back on this and laugh because it's just not going to fucking matter. Like, I think this is all going to be hooey and conversation. And, hey, do you guys remember when in this? And
yeah, I mean, I think that people are grossly discounting the wave that's coming. That is the Super League. I think that it's not being talked about publicly. And again, this is my opinion. I think it's not being talked about publicly a whole lot, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's a weekly, if not daily, conversation for a lot of folks in the industry and understanding where they need to be and what they need to prepare for. Because it's just the natural progression, as I always say. It's where the sport needs to go. It works for everybody. And when it works for everybody, I mean that, hey, if everybody can make money on it, it's going to get done, and everybody can make money on it.
I agree. Kim Coulter, are we doing a Giving Friday this week? We are, in fact, doing a Giving Friday this week. Right? You're showing up tomorrow?
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Utah had a couple of good years, but they aren't on the level of USC or Oregon. I agree with that. I think Utah is one of the best football programs in the country that nobody knows about. But I also think they don't bring you the brand value and the money and the leverage that Oregon and SC bring. They bring more value than UCLA. They bring more value than Washington, in my opinion. Washington had just reached a crescendo, obviously, and it wound up with them playing for a championship. But they're going to have to show that they have staying power. And I think going into the Big Ten, it's a hell of a lot more difficult when the conference is that deep and you have traditional powerhouses ahead of you. But they showed that they're a better football team last year than Oregon. So they are capable. Is Jed Fish that guy? We're going to find out. I hold Jed Fish in very high esteem.
Yeah, I think he is.
But make no mistake about it. Utah is one of the best football programs in the country. It's not even arguable. They are a, in my opinion, they're what you want in a football program. They win. They have struggled out of conference, certainly. They have struggled. Obviously, they went to back-to-back Rose Bowls and lost. Now, the shootout with Ohio State was amazing, but you still lost a game.
Yeah.
So are there issues at Utah football? Of course there are. But anybody marking them down on a football perspective doesn't know Utah football. Brand value, revenue generation, all of that. Totally agree. They're not SC. They're not Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
But they have regularly beat USC on the football field. They wrecked Lincoln Riley the last 2 years. They beat them 3 straight games or something.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. Utah's
quality, bro.
Yeah, they've earned that respect.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they have earned that respect. Yeah, I don't know why people continue to type in caps. If you're typing in all caps, I'm not reading your comments. Just know that. It's not happening. K. Nurin, Monty knows what is going on in sports. Thanks for always telling us. You're welcome. Kim Coulter, Charisse is already feisty this morning.
Oh, God.
Charisse is always feisty. Monty, excuse wet blanket because he still wets his blanket. The thing that happens in the comment section on this show pretty often now as the show has grown is that you get pissed off guy. And I think wet blanket is I want to say he's an Oklahoma fan, or maybe you're a Texas fan. I don't fucking remember. But you get up anytime new guy will show up in the comment section and will be like, hey, Venables, in Wet Blanket's case, hey, Venables needs to be better. They don't win enough. You guys suck. You don't know what you're talking. Like, it just turns into this complete BS thing.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. And then you wind up getting ignored and you're like, well, I kicked your ass. Okay, great. You kicked our ass. Congratulations, dude.
And then you threaten to leave the show and we're like, cool, leave the show.
All right.
And then you come back 3 weeks later. Like,
have a good day. Don't care. Utah is the little engine that could. I don't even think they're that anymore. I agree they used to be that. When it was when they were the original BCS busters and it was, I can't even say his name right anymore. When it was Pervin Liar, handing it off. How many people remember Pervin Liar used to be the head coach at Utah? Handing it off to Kyle Whittingham, and Kyle Whittingham goes on this unbelievable run, and they were the little engine that could. But when you win back-to-back conference championships and you play in the Rose Bowl, you're not the little engine that could anymore.
Yeah.
Let's see. Huey Reed. Hello, Huey. Huey. SC and Oregon definitely have more brand recognition than Utah. But from a football-only standpoint, USC doesn't hold a candle. Well, let's not exaggerate. USC's been one of the best offenses in the country the last couple of years. You've won Heisman trophies. You've put guys in the draft. Let's not hold a candle strong. Now, USC can't tackle. Okay, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
USC can't cover. That's pretty accurate. USC can't stop me. That's pretty accurate.
USC routinely is confused on what they're trying to do on defense, so they're always opening up the middle of the field instead of closing it. I would say that's accurate.
Lincoln Riley's a punk-ass bitch? No, I don't think so. Just throwing it out there. Let's not get I feel like we're carried away now. I could be wrong. Kaner, and wake up and hit the like button. I agree with that. Hour number 2 of the Monty Show, as always, presented by our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. Speaking of Giving Friday, tomorrow on the show, The Advocates, as you know, working in your community almost no matter where you are. They are partnered with a group called The Road Home. If you're not able to join the show tomorrow, please consider making a donation today to The Advocates on Venmo, Advocates Donations. For the 20th straight year, The Advocates, the best injury attorneys in the country, are working with The Road Home to provide basic necessities for school kids who are underprivileged, who don't have the resources they need to achieve academically. And when I'm talking about resources, I'm talking about clothing, socks, underwear, pencils, and notebooks. The basic necessities, a backpack. Imagine being the only kid in school who doesn't have a backpack, right? Like, that's what we're talking about. We need your donations. We need your help. We really would like to be able to contribute to The Advocates in The Road Home to make that a possibility. I ask you, if it's in your wallet and in your heart, make a donation on Venmo, Advocates Donations. In the comment section, please put Monty Show Road Home, Monty School Kids, anything. And if you don't want to mention us, just put For the School Kids Fund, whatever you would like. But just know that every penny that you donate to The Advocates goes right to The Road Home, who's putting that back into your community. When you make a donation to The Advocates, it's working in your community, because that's who The Advocates are. They are not only the best injury attorneys in the business, but they understand the communities they serve have issues that are foundational. When a kid goes to school without socks, without underwear, without a backpack, without confidence, without the ability to feel like they belong in that classroom, they're not going to learn. They're not going to read at the level they need to read at. They're not going to do arithmetic and mathematics at the level they need to achieve at, to be successful in life, to break the cycle of poverty and struggle that their families have likely faced. That's what we're talking about. $1, $5, $100. Make your donation. Advocates Donations. Make them today. Make them tomorrow. As usual on this show, we will give away some really crazy. We may kick it up a notch. I don't know. Jake's a greedy son of a bitch who won't, really do anything to, give back to you, because he doesn't like you generally. Is that true? He doesn't like Ross Dellinger in that cool teal polo shirt he was wearing.
Yeah, right. Sure.
No, I'm kidding. We'll figure maybe we'll do a big prize tomorrow. Maybe we'll do an Xbox. What should we give away tomorrow?
Yeah, what do you guys want
for donations? What should we give away tomorrow?